Right now at 5, new video just in showing the moment a man in a wheelchair was shot and survived on the Seattle waterfront. Take a look.
So picture this. You're in a wheelchair playing music on the Seattle waterfront, minding your business. Then some guy walks up, calls you a fake veteran, rips a patch off your chair, and in the next 30 seconds, you've got a bullet in your chest. That's not a bad Netflix drama. That's what exactly happened here. And trust me, this case is messier than the headlines are telling you.
That was the scene on July 31st when a 68-year-old man in a wheelchair was shot in the chest after being accused of pretending to be a member of the military. Police say when the charged gunman demanded military ID, the victim pulled a knife and then an airsoft gun, prompting the suspect to pull the real gun and fire. Attorneys for the suspected gunman claim it was self-defense, but prosecutors say it doesn't apply if you start the fight. The suspect now faces felony assault charges and is held on $750,000 bail, while the victim remains hospitalized.
It's July 31st, 2025. Starbucks, Pier 55 in Seattle. Harold James Powell, a 68-year-old Navy vet who's wheelchair bound, has a guitar. And then there's Gregory William Timm, who's 32 years old and whose claim to fame was plowing his van into a Trump voter registration booth back in 2020. The two meet, they talk, and by talk, I mean Timm accusing Powell of stolen valor. Seconds later, Timm snatches a patch right off of Powell's wheelchair like he's unmasking a Scooby-Doo villain. What happens next? Powell pulls a knife, then he pulls what looks like a gun. Turns out it's airsoft, but from 5 feet away, good luck telling the difference. Timm, he backs up, digs through his bag like he's trying to find his keys in a black hole, finally comes out with a pistol and puts one round in Powell's chest. Game over. Now here's the thing. In Washington, if you're somewhere you have a legal right to be and someone threatens you, you don't have to retreat. You can stand your ground and use the amount of force necessary to stop them. Not more, but what's necessary. And then on top of that, which is kind of interesting, is if you're charged with a crime but found not guilty because it was self-defense, Washington will actually reimburse your legal fees. Self-defense law isn't black and white. It's a watercolor painting in a rainstorm. Rip something off of a guy's wheelchair and he's probably going to feel assaulted. But that doesn't give him a golden ticket to pull a knife and a gun. That's a whole different level. Now, there is disparity of force. That's a real thing. You see, Powell's in a wheelchair. He can't move. He can't retreat. He can't throw a punch like an able-bodied person. So the law will give him more leeway to escalate quicker than it would give me being an able-bodied person. But even then, the law still has limits. If the jury decides Powell jumped to lethal force too soon, then suddenly Timm's shot starts looking legally justifiable, even though he started the whole mess. That's the insanity of it. You can be the aggressor, lose the fight to your own bad judgment, and still legally argue self-defense if the other guy escalates unlawfully. But generally speaking, you can't be the aggressor and then claim self-defense. Now, I'm an ardent proponent of stand your ground laws. I think they're necessary. I don't think we need to give criminals any more advantage that they've already got. They've got enough. So if you're somewhere and someone threatens you and you have a legal right to be there, you shouldn't have to run just because they want you to. I'm all for that. But there's a difference between being legally right and just being smart. Me personally, I've got too much to lose and I'm not about to engage in unnecessarily risky behavior. If I can remove myself from a situation, I will, within reason. This guy put himself in a position and now he has to deal with the potential consequences of that decision, even though personally, I think he was engaging in loser behavior. Now, legally, I'd need a little more in terms of facts to say exactly where I'd land. If I were on a jury, if the guy in the wheelchair actually pulled a knife and said something like, I'm gonna shoot you or I'm gonna kill you, and then pull the airsoft gun, then legally, yeah, Timm might have been justified because airsoft guns look pretty damn real today, unless this particular airsoft gun was blatantly a fake gun. I might not like it, but the law's the law, and I'm not gonna critique the law here, but from a smart human standpoint, what Timm did just wasn't smart, not at all. And now the courts are gonna decide. This could go to a jury and 12 strangers will decide what to do with you. And now you've got to live with the fallout from the decisions you made. This is the part people don't think about. What happens after a self-defense incident? The court dates, the legal fees, the stress. Even if you win, it can drag on for months or years. That's why I'm always telling people, if you carry a gun, a knife, anything for self-defense, you also need to carry legal protection. That's why I work with USCCA, not just because they help cover your legal and financial defense if you ever have to use force, but because they give you the training and the knowledge to avoid bad situations in the first place. Their courses, resources, and scenario-based training make you think differently. They make you a smarter, more responsible armed citizen. And if the worst happens and you still find yourself in court, USCCA's coverage means you're not standing there alone against the legal system. So I'm gonna put a link in the description section of this video so you can check out more information about the USCCA membership. But even if you don't go with USCCA, I'm gonna implore you to go with something, because the fight after the fight can be just as bad, if not worse than the fight itself. And having that protection could be the difference between rebuilding your life and then watching it crumble. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.